All right, welcome back everyone to the North American Challengers League. And game number 1 completely unfolded between Dignitas and TSM. Ira, since you were watching the whole time, I'll throw it to you first. How are you feeling after that game?
You know, that was quite the banger. I was taking notes on my end, really high-end analysis. I can showcase some of these notes real quick.
Please.
Yeah, so, you know, I'm showcasing the really high-end analysis from that game there. But, you know, Dignitas played really well overall. It was a really big banger back and forth, but seeing Cassante, you know, it doesn't matter if you lose lane if you're absolutely beating him in the mid to late game there. So, really fun game to watch.
Yeah, the Hoon's performance on Cassante was one thing, but Exia's performance on his classic Lee Sin was another one that was just so exciting to watch. I know this guy's a mastermind on that champion, but being able to counter-engage like that so consistently against TSM just stopped them right in their tracks.
Yeah, I will say, I think there were some key moments where I think TSM specifically probably bit off more than they could chew, and I think kind of exposed themselves to the comebacks that Dignitas did. I think particularly the one that allowed Dignitas to get the first Baron, I think was probably the biggest one, where Hoon had TP and Haunter didn't. He was close, like maybe sub 30 seconds or something along those lines, but they were pushing for an invade topside and pushed a little too far. But I mean, props to Dig for being able to catch these moments, and at every point in the game, just be like, yeah, we're behind, but like, you know, we can win our way back.
So, now as we head into game number 2, I want to ask, what's going to be different right here for TSM? Because once Dig found an answer, it felt like TSM had nothing back to say.
I think for TSM, they over-indexed a little too much on the Cassante answer as a lane answer. I think once, like, obviously there was a big lead in the lane, you know, Haunter was like 3 kills, 0 deaths at one point. But once you got into the team fights, it didn't really seem like Jax was able to match the pressure and chaos that Cassante can bring. Obviously, there was some really nice flanks. The Hexgate portal behind the Dragon Pit, that was pretty good. But Haunter had to work 10 times as hard to pull off the impact that Cassante could just do. So it'll be interesting to see if they go for another lane dominance pick, or if they look for something that can impact the map and the fights more, maybe like an Ornn or something like that, where, yeah, the lane's not amazing, but you have a lot more impact towards the fights, because I think once you got late and you had Lee Sin and Cassante flying in everywhere, like, the chaos kind of just tore TSM apart as you got later in.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to end up being probably an Ornn angle, just so you have more team fighting capabilities, because, I mean, we saw Dig ban away things like the Fiora and the Renekton, so I don't know how many other, like, lane dominant champions will be available, because, I mean, if you're a Dig, you're just going to come back one backward quickly.
There's another one they could look at too, which is the Gnar, which kind of gives you a best of both worlds in the sense of, like, it's a stabilizer in the lane. You can kind of just kite if you're playing it well, and it gives you some impact in the team fights. That's sort of like your halfway point between the Fiora Renekton, well, between the Fioras and like the Ornns. So that could also be an option, but it did not seem like the Jax contributed late the way they needed.
Can we just ban it?
I mean, that's always good too.
I mean, yeah. That's probably the best. That's probably the best, but it's interesting, like, when you think about, I don't quite remember fully what was taken away, but like a lot of power pick, maybe you leave the Wukong up, you know, and then just ban the Cassante, because I think Cassante probably has a little more impact 1-to-1.
Don't say, B. Don't say.
Take a look at just a hunch.
Take a look at some of the tweets we've been getting in. It's only the second day, but game 1 between DIGC and TSMC is contender for best of the split. Do you echo that, Myra?
I mean, it was a banger so far. It will be. I'm definitely interested to see how it goes down. With some of the games we had last year, some of the chaotic moments, I think of the base race. I think of I believe it was TSM that died at the Nexus when it was like 10 health. Like there were some bangers last year, so it will be interesting to see if it can hold up as game of the year. But this one's been a highlight for sure so far.
Got any game of the years from 2022, B?
Oh, my memory's not good like that, Eric. I'm not gonna lie, so I'm gonna abstain from that one.
I'll say mine. It's the TL versus IMT game. That was one of my personal favorites. The reverse sweep that Team Liquid were able to get.
I lied to you. I have one. Because you mentioned IMT. So it was IMT versus AoE Ginger Turmeric. Because I remember game 1, they literally just base raced, and Captain Trimps would not let them recall, literally threw his life away for it, and it was like a 40-minute banger too.
What about you, Myra?
Yeah, I mean, that one was a big highlight. I'm trying to rack my brain to remember who had that Nexus moment last year in the game, but I remember specifically it was like either it was like 10 health on the Nexus and someone died, and then they just ran it back and won. It was the most tragic thing. Everyone was commenting on it on Twitter. I would feel awful if I was in that game. I don't even know what you say as staff after that. Like, what do you review? It's just like auto more on the Nexus. Like, it's one of those ones where you just go, "We got tomorrow, guys."
Have you ever had to say unlucky after games?
Yeah. No, it happens in scrims sometimes. Sometimes you go for a flip and you just FF. Sometimes you just have games where it's like, there's so much chaos. Reviewing this is just hell. Sometimes you just have to say go next, and you know what? That's okay.
This game number 1 did go a little bit on the long side. I want to ask, have you had situations where you've lost a series outright, got stomped, and both games were very long? What's the morale like after that? And, what methods do you use to try and get it back up?
I mean, when you lose like those close ones, like you come in, no one's talking. Like you unmute as the manager or coach, everyone's like, "Damn." Coach, manager's like, "So guys, you know, how we feeling?" You know, you don't really want to review that right away. No one wants to talk about how you lost, especially if it's something like a base race. Like that sucks. Like for the most part, you try and just accept what happened. You look to sort of reset your mental a bit. And if it's your last game of the day, you know, it's okay. We go tomorrow. We can talk about the games tomorrow. Get sleep, get rest, get food, right? Depending on the time of the game. But, you know, there are games sometimes where you just have to accept, damn, that sucks.
Be like that sometimes. I think it's really a perfectly valid response for coaches.
Yeah, coaches and managers. Sometimes you just gotta accept the vibes are a little doomed and just go next.
Yeah.
That seems like a very tricky way to get through some of those situations. And we have a tricky thing that I need to get through right now as we prepare for the next game. So we're going to take a moment to take a quick break while we get everything settled for TSM versus Dignitas Game 2. Welcome back, everyone, to the North American Challengers League. We had to say goodbye to Myra as we prepare for the draft now. Last chance, Beat. Any expectations? Set them for us right now. Hurry, go. Hurry. Snap.
Ban Cassante.
Got it. On my notes right here, too.
Yeah. Should I write it down? Would that be better? I don't know. Like, I just hope... I'm sure TSM learned at this point. Because, you know, there are some people, some dissenters, who just say, like, oh, you know, Cassante, it's not that good. He's not that strong. And, you know, to them, I say hope. And hope he gets banned.
We're going to have to make a montage of Cassante after this day.
I think that's a great idea.
The Cassante play was great today. What can I say? Doxa getting pushed away from the Dragon Pit, as you had mentioned earlier. Yeah, that was really nice. I mean, it kept Doxa away from the backline of Dignitas. Doxa had to flash just to try and get kills onto that. That was pretty brutal.
And I mean, for Hoon, a player we're kind of saying didn't get a fair shot in LCS. He's hoping he can prove himself now. This is a fantastic start for him. And now we can see... Quickly, everyone, spam in chat who you think is going to win Game 2. So far, it's Dignitas at 100%, but surely the TSM fans are going to be able to, you know, get those numbers up a little bit.
Wow, Beat. Is that going to be the case from now on? We look at that C and all we see is Cope?
It might be. I just thought of it. I think that's probably going to be something I do, you know, forever. But that's not important.
I'm peeking at it right now and looking at our Twitter poll, our Twitch chat. Oh,
there you go.
I'm staying aligned. Now Dignitas fans starting to show up after that very, very lopsided TSM voting that we had in game number 1.
Right.
Getting flips here, Beat. Yeah, stick
I like
to your teams.
Oh,
there it goes.
There it is. I mean, okay, who knows? Things could switch up in this next game. I mean, it's really important. Myra brought it up that even though Haunter had a good lane, the Jax was much less effective. You put Hoon on a less broken champion, maybe a game like that does look a little bit different. But it isn't fair to say, just off that one game, that Dignitas will 2-0. I will say, I'm surprised TSM I'm pretty sure they're getting more votes than they did in game 1, which is... I don't know what to think of that.
I don't know. Well, as Myra was saying, it is a Cassante diff, right? So just ban it away and we can play the map in a different way this time. Maokai is going to be the first man staying stock standard there as we get ready for draft number 2.
Yeah, I mean, Dignitas won, like TSM on the red side. Dignitas have this opportunity to basically just do exactly what they did before. You're going to see the Gnar ban, you're going to see the Maokai ban, and unless TSM switch it up, that's a B1 Cassante looking to happen again. I'm certain of it.
Yeah, and smart of Dignitas to take away the Gnar. That's been the most common handshake I've seen into Cassante. Me getting taken away. No, not going to be one on the Cassante.
Oh, that's right. That's
B1
right.
the Rise last
game.
game.
Before.
And they'll run it back again.
That's fair. I think, so now the interesting thing to me is Hanszer played Cassante. Because now that we're talking about it, it wasn't actually an immediate pickup. But, I mean, with this meta being what it is, bot lane is something that is a really big highlight, and we're just,
run it back.
Deja vu, Eric? I'm getting deja vu.
Run it back.
Yeah?
We're going to run it back right now. Let's see. Lulu pickup. There it is.
Yeah. You know what? It's going to be certainly a Cassante second rotation ban. As so far, first, everything we're seeing, perfect mirror of what we saw before. Now is where we're going to see the differences. Dig, I don't think they're going to change much. It's still going to be, take away top laners, remove Fiora, remove Renekton, because you're looking to see if how TSM read that loss. Will they think it was the Cassante? And if so, that opens up opportunities for Hoon.
I still favor this for Dignitas, at least in the early part of the draft with the context of game number 1. Svenskeren had a hard time landing his ultimate. Diamond was excellent in protecting the backline.
100%.
Every time Doxa would pop in, Doxa would be popped into the air thanks to that wild growth following through. So Dignitas, like the early part of the draft, the part they are going to change up, however, banning away the Kassadin.
And we're seeing the Fiora this time taken away by TSM. I think that means they want to take Cassante on 4 right away. So now it's up to Dig. Are they going to leave that one up and risk it? Or are they just going to be the ones to take it away themselves? I mean, Hoon will have plenty of options. We talked about other champions like Ornn and things like that being available and viable on both ends here. What's the last one? Okay, so it's the Renekton. Sure. Oh, like, TSM. What are we doing here? Cassante, yeah, there it is.
Go. There we go, Hanszer. Great pick to have right there.
Yeah.
We'll have Cassante over on the top side. You won't have to deal with the worries that you dealt with in game number 1, where Hoon was just being that big, bad bully. Now, Hanszer on that champ.
Yeah, and it's Hoon who's going to... It's looking like the Gwen is a hover. I kind of like this pick just because she's a champion overall. Yeah, sure. Not the strongest lane, not like when she was released. But the opportunity in team fights is a little similar, if not a little worse, where that your Hallowed Mist is really good at allowing you to absorb pressure and engage. And I mean, we look at what TSM have, their second, third, and fourth pick. That's a lot of engage. So being able to absorb that pressure, make space for your AD carry and your mid laner is exactly what Hoon did in the last game and exactly what he's looking to do again. Plus, Gwen, true damage, tank killer. You see 2 tanks already, and okay, I was talking about it. What did I say game 1, Eric? Doxa plays the Cassiopeia.
Yup.
And there it is. He's picking the hot snake lady. Oh, Ooh. Ooh, that's not as fun, Eric. I wanted to see the Cassiopeia.
I wanted to see it too, Beat. I wanted to see it too. Instead, staying on the standard side of things. Well, to be fair, we are seeing a lot of Syndra, but Syndra is at least a little bit more of a fun champion and does provide some good pick for TSM with Scatter the Weak. That can act as the engage to set up for Svenskeren.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely, it just kind of, it plays into the all-in paradigm that you have going on here.
That we were hoping for, right?
No, like, I was hoping for the Cassiopeia, but, I mean, look, at the end of the day, you're right. It fits with what they want to do here. Yeah, Syndra's lane, since she got reworked, isn't as strong as it used to be, and she scales much better than she used to, and that's why you're probably going to see a lot of Syndra as a response into the Rise. Means that Insanity will probably get the push early on again, and I'm interested to see how TSM is going to respond to that early game. Because I think, even though this game was super back and forth, the thing worth noting is that when Doxa was playing Kassadin, getting pushed in, Insanity XD did a great job moving around the map and taking advantage of the fact that Doxa wasn't really a champion in the early game. And Syndra doesn't have as serious an issue as like a level 4, 5, 6 Kassadin, but still, Insanity will have this opportunity to get around the map, especially post 6.
Game number 2 now underway. Dignitas Challengers versus TSM Challengers. Another thing here is there's no real big front line coming out for Dignitas. They're just looking to skirmish. They're just looking to scrap. Absolutely love that because the damage they can get from this composition comes in so fast, Pete.
It does. It's really, it's a lot of burst. Like when you think about Syndra, Lucian, Nami, It's quickly like the second you get hit by that Scatter of the Week or Glacial Prisoner, whatever it is, you're out of the picture. But this is why that Gwen pick is so important, because if you're able to frontline and kind of absorb that pressure, absorb those skill shots, and then keep yourself safe with the Hallowed Mist, what does TSM's comp have after that? That's the thing to look for here, because if Hoon is able to continue playing Peel, continue playing spoiler to what TSM are looking to do, we could see a Dig 2-0. What are you laughing at, by the way? What did I say?
Can I give you a good giggle right here?
Give me a giggle.
I saw a tweet. Basically, someone had 2 streams up, both the Challenger stream and the PAL LCS one. And next to each other, TSM Challengers and CLG Challengers had the exact same draft order.
Was it the Grapes tweet? I think I saw it.
Yeah, it was the Grapes tweet.
There it is.
The rivalry goes long, ladies and gentlemen. El Clasico, it exists in NACL as well.
Yeah, just at all levels of play, maybe even across esports. Right now, the matchup that we're looking at on our screen, again, you can still spam in chat to say who you think is going to win. And so far, TSM has the funny number in favor of them. Come on, Dig fans.
Nice.
What are we doing right now? Nice.
Very, very nice. Well, let's look at this jungle pathing right now to see what we can most evaluate from what's coming through. Svenskeren taking a red buff to bottom side route, where we've seen Tomo and Diamond having a lot of success on this combo. However, for XU, this is more of a power farmer, should see that full clear coming through and pathing upwards.
This is one of those situations where you're not going to do a whole lot on someone like Graves unless someone is just turbo out of position and you're like, hey, listen, man, I'm not even supposed to do this, but that's illegal. And on Svenskeren's side, you're seeing Wild Turtle and Chime, this time letting the wave pushed in. They fought really hard for level 2 before. This time around, they're letting it go. Could be because Svenskeren looking for an opportunity to gank that bottom side. We'll see if he's going to be able to make it happen, even though a ward has been placed.
I want to see the early influence of this game, more specifically for XU, because XU was really active in the early stages.
Yeah.
Graves doesn't really play for that. Graves is the type of champion that, as I said earlier, power farms kind of doesn't exist on the map, and then suddenly at some mid-game dragon fight, dead man walk, and he just comes in double barrel and tears up your team.
Very true. And I think a big thing that's going to determine that is Insanity. I mean, my goodness, look at what he's doing already in this early game. And again, this advantage that we kind of expect from this particular matchup there for Rise into Syndra is what's going to give Insanity this opportunity to move with his jungler. And no Hallowed Mist
from Svenskeren, trying to get the permafrost before the flash comes out. First blood picked up by Svenskeren. Can XU return one? Body blocking is Haunter. This could be a double kill potentially. Permafrost stun coming through, and now XU is in a bad place to be. Needs to head over to the heals. No, XU turning it around.
Can do it.
Sub 200 health for both Svenskeren and Haunter. XU, another shot goes in. No more red buff though, beat down. XU can't chase.
Yeah, that's super unfortunate. You do manage to get that wave in. Moon does teleport back to the situation, but it's a kill over to Svenskeren and nothing traded in return except a few summoner spells. So at that point, you could look to invade. I mean, this is the timer where one, he could go for the Krugs, and there it is. He's over the wall. So XU actually will get this opportunity to steal one, maybe 2 camps coming through here as you see that ward dropped over onto the Raptors camp.
Getting pinged out right now as Hoon hovering over towards his side means that XU is A-okay to keep placing pressure up there. Look at Haunter. Haunter's not going to be doing anything anytime soon. Look at the mid lane. Insanity is strong priority there. Svenskeren still wants to challenge though, but here comes the rotation. You got to be fast about it, and Svenskeren is.
Ooh, I was wondering if Insanity was going to make the move, but that's just 2-0 now for the jungler of TSM Challenge. Big advantage in this lane. It does feel confident even though his jungler is down because his support is in the area. And this is a pretty sick Sejuani. You're feeling okay about what we're looking at right now. Okay. Flash maybe?
Ooh, swinging right back onto Doxa. Doxa looking to get away. Tomo arriving in the mid lane in style will force out the flash of Doxa.
And I love this pressure now in that's continuously being applied into the mid lane. They're putting the screws to Doxa here. First, it was the Kassadin, who's weak early on. Now it's the Syndra, who has similar problems. And Tomo and Diamond using their winning matchup, using the pressure they've gotten for themselves to move across the map and have that impact. And now look at Chime. He's going to get that ward, but we'll have to trade a little bit of health to get it.
Maybe more than a little bit. Maybe it's not just the ward that he's trying to trade for. Maybe it's the life that they're going after.
Diamond.
Blown up in an instant. Wild Turtle will grab that kill, and Dignitas been a little bit sad in the bottom lane.
Yeah, I mean, maybe giving away a little too much. I mean, it was nicely played by TSM, being able to burst Diamond before he even was able to use a summoner spell. He had a chance to flash, or he could have had a chance to flash over the wall, but they didn't give it to him.
Now, over on this top side, we haven't been watching too much of this matchup, and
that's
Hanser wants us to watch it. Hanser wants us to take a look for these autos coming through, Hoon.
Wow.
You played K'Sante last game. Well, no more fun for you.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, we did see Hanser have this exact situation happen where he got a great lead in lane, but Hoon was able to have more impact in the fight. But now, Hanser is on the haha funny better than you champion. So this time around, I'm really interested to see how Hanser is going to be able to impact these team fights. I mean, spoiler alert, given from what we've seen of him in the past, he's probably going to have a pretty big impact.
And so far, the impact for TSM in this early game, first 7 minutes of it, has been pretty big. 2K in the health pool, getting kills pretty much across the board. Not much of an influence in the mid lane, but that is okay. Dox is still staying alive and in the lead with CS, so great start coming out for TSM. Not too worried the early game.
Yeah, that is something to be honestly pretty happy about. As Doxa and TSM in general, all this attention and pressure mid lane, and it's as you say, he's got a CS lead going for himself. Flash still on cooldown, but he hasn't given his life yet. Everything going TSM Challengers way at the moment here, and it's much different to what we saw from Dignitas. But again, you highlighted it, XU. Wait until get some itemization going through. Wait until we get past that level 6 mark, and then him and Insanity are going to be able to do a little bit more. And I think at this point, could see that move over to the top side using of the Realm Warp if the opportunity presents itself, because I think they understand that, okay, look, Hanser ahead on Jax, a little scary, but manageable. Hanser ahead on K'Sante, I don't know about it.
Uh-oh, Dox
here
getting
we go.
caught out. Ooh, right when placing a ward, Insanity peeks his head alongside XU, and they'll take down Doxa.
Say the line, Eric, please.
Line?
The line.
What's the line?
Dead man walking.
Oh, okay, I got you. Dead man walking.
God, it's so cool. And this is what we were kind of expecting. Level 6, no flash mid, perfect thing for Dignitas to be able to take care of now. So they are able to get themselves on the board here and a kill onto someone like the Graves, who, I mean, he's going to be doing a lot of damage in these later parts of the game.
Yeah, XU snowballed like crazy on the Leaf Sin, but Graves actually does well when you start to get those resources. Actually becomes a carry to that regard.
Absolutely, and that's what we're looking for here. I mean, realistically, a little bit of a sneak coming through here of the Rift Herald is going to be spotted out, but Hoon, look at his health bar. Hopefully we get a look at the top side. Like, Hanser is just beating this poor man. And there's
personal.
He did. That first game, he was like, all right, now it's my turn, Hoon. And it means that this Rift Herald is going to be easily picked up. And that's both early objectives for TSM.
Get to see a Pokemon evolve, too.
Oh, yes, his jungle creature. Dude, you're right, actually. This is one of those times where you take advantage. You appreciate the opportunities that you're given, Eric.
Yeah, and Hoon's appreciating the fact that they're not getting dived right. Like that recall.
Yeah.
TP back to lane. Does give a bit of an advantage here for Hoon, as Hanser doesn't have his teleport. It should be the next heads-up play to come out from TSM if that's going to really mean anything.
Okay, and we're going to get the replay of what happened. I mean, when K'Sante has all out, it is brutal, and you can see it. Like, he's landing the Qs, getting this extra damage coming through from this passive, and then he gets an opportunity where he's just comfortable to throw out more damage, and immediately he gets the reset on his W. This champion is just really good, man.
Really good or really busted?
Yes.
In the better type of way. It's not busted in the Yumi type of way, it just gets everyone angry.
Yeah, that's...
Ooh, Chide away from Chide.
He's surfing!
We'll surf the entire wall, baby! Now XU has arrived. We'll chase away TSM. After that beautiful play, just grinding the wall of the rift will be Tomo.
Yeah, it does cost Tomo his flash, but so well worth it, because if Svenskeren ends up succeeding in this play and the gank comes through, that's a lot of turret plates going over to TSM's bot lane. But instead, now They have the opportunity. They have the ult advantage. Now they can apply some pressure here, and it is going to be XU who walks away with the blue.
Yeah, Insanity has priority over in the mid lane, and they call him over just in case TSM pool. Dox is going to notice that right away, and that means TSM concede. Don't want to risk too much for that blue buff. Not sure why Dignitas Challengers picked Gwen into Cassante. Everyone knows that Rock beats Scissors. Thank you, Matt Nashville. Thank you for that.
I mean, hey, that's fair. And I mean, it's a kind of an accurate representation of what we've been seeing so far here. I mean, Hoon already playing with a bit of fire, in my opinion, but Hanser having the teleport wants to go back, spend his gold. And Hoon getting that wave in so he can back and just walk his way back. And now, I mean, we're looking at Dignitas. They are a little behind. I think this early game, despite some good plays from Dignitas, have gone very much in favor of TSM Challengers. And the thing to really look out for, though, an important thing in these team fights is that, yes, TSM in a really strong position, but their comp very centered around burst. And as long as Hoon can keep himself in the game long enough to be able to absorb some of that pressure and deal out damage of his own, we saw Insanity and Tomo in this last game. Now XU is also with them, with that scaling, with that damage, and this could still go Dignitas' way, but they got a lot of work.
Ooh, Insanity might be caught out here.
Oh,
The
yeah.
engage onto Insanity. Scatter the weak goes out, gets the stun. Unleashed power gets him to half health. Flash will be burnt by Insanity, setting up for the dragon.
It's first going to be the Herald. That's just going to be, I mean, it's a little brutal. You're sharing these plates between four people. Oh, wait, unless, let's see. Yeah.
Oh, XU. XU going down, calling onto Diamond. Diamond's isolated Tomo. You don't want to go that route, buddy. Take a detour home. With that TSM, they do control this side of the jungle. They do control the river, so hey, you got to pick alongside with those plates. Let's grab the Drake.
TSM's lead just continues to... Tomo... I mean, Insanity's here, but I don't know if I like this. I think we let this dragon go. Yeah, I mean, Dox is here. Yes, blue buff. Okay. I mean, that's something to be happy about. Overall, nothing's really going to be gained for Dignitas. It's just TSM continuing to win things out in this game. Oh, no.
Oh, yep. Hanser has arrived, and he's brought Cassante with him as we head on the ocean map.
Yeah, and that is so great for TSM. Ocean Soul on the docket, 2 dragons to their name, and pretty much every advantage they can hope for in this early game. Yeah, maybe Tomo trades a plate, but, I mean, you could tell the stress is coming through here. This is a big risk after the dragon's being taken, but look who's here. It's XU.
Oh, Tomo, great positioning. Wild Growth will be able to defend Tomo. Diamond placing that beautifully with XU, applying pressure on that back end. TSM will not continue with the gank.
This is an opportunity. They can. You see XU going around because he wants to cover. He wants to ensure Tomo can get some plays, get gold back into his pocket. A big helper in Dignitas' win last game, and they want to make sure he's in a position to do exactly that in this game as well.
XU. It's the Graves. This is the point that he's starting to get at. He's been farming up to grab that first item. First item's already done, so XU can play more aggressively on this Graves.
Yeah, I mean, he does have the Umbral Glaive. We know item, very good. Maybe too good. Its ability to help secure vision and clear things out even without using your sweeper. You gotta imagine that's something nice for Dig to have, but I mean, overall, still looking to scale on XU's side, and still a game very much in favor in TSM Challengers, if we're being honest. Here, 3,000 gold up on the dot. To be fair, a lot of that is on Svenskeren, so it doesn't feel as good on someone like a Sejuani, but Doxa is ahead, especially with how much pressure he's been put under mid lane, in the mid lane early game. I think that's something to be very proud of. And we even see a slight advantage onto Wild Turtle. And I mean, Hanser's fine, let's be honest.
Those gold leads are on the carries, and that's where you want them.
Yeah.
Or the 5v5. I mean, TSM have a great 5v5. That bodes very well for when we get into the late stages of this game, because there isn't much of a front line really afforded over to Dignitas.
No, not really. Like, you're really depending on your ability to kite, make use of the Wild Growth, and Hoon himself and his Hallowed Mist. But Hoon, I mean, you could see it. We still have the gold up. He is a decent bit behind, not a lot, but enough that Hanser is such a big threat to him alone. How are Dignitas going to be able to protect Tomo like they did previously? You're relying heavily on Graves Smokescreen and the Wild Growth.
see, who can they play around? I mean, Tomo did spectacular in the position and really pop off in that game 1. So, yeah, I feel like it's playing around Tomo and it's trying to facilitate a lot of these fights to get Tomo to pop off and survive.
Right. The biggest thing here. And it's important, too, that I think the position, even though this is what Dignitas want to do, they're in a tough spot right now. Because we're at 16 minutes, 20 minutes when that next dragon comes up. TSM could very well have their sole point. Dignitas aren't really in a position to actually fight this dragon unless they manage to get a pick. And that's going to be the hardest thing because their comp isn't exactly built for getting picks. So unless someone makes an egregious play on TSM's side, it's going to be an early soul point. And Dignitas, though we know both from the past and from game 1 that they know how to play from behind, it's still hard when the chips are stacked against you like that.
Svenskeren setting up for a dive on Hoon. Will lead it with the Rift Herald. XU not too far off from this location. Svenskeren's going to realize that right now. Turret should go down. Turret plates no longer up. Shelly gets that charge going in, and it's more gold going into the pocket of Hanser. TSM continue their demolition of the map.
And looking like Rift Herald will not be able to get another charge at this point. Svenskeren does have the ultimate. It's going to be a nice bit of trade for camps, but you got to be careful. Again, not in the greatest position here. And look at Dignitas, kind of all over the map. Things aren't so great for them. Nobody is answering top. Mid is under a lot of pressure, and XU is forced out of his own jungle.
Oh, no, 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 no. Don't be around Cassante. You know what happens, XU. Svenskeren takes him down, but here comes Hoon. A lot of that splash damage. It's not going to be enough to stop TSM from taking this fight.
And there it is, TSM continuing to press the advantage, and XU a little bit out of position there, not playing Lee Sin this time around, so you cannot protect yourself or safeguard yourself very well. And it just means that now you can see it. Objective bounties, pity prizes, as Rafa calls them, are up and available, and it's looking like Ocean's Soul Point on the docket for TSM.
Svenskeren doesn't have ultimate, but will still go for this engage here. Insanity out of position. Flash away, Diamond. Unleashed power from Doxa. We'll take one more down of Dig. You can take the mid lane if you want, but TSM will start with the Dragon.
And there it is. The gold lead just continues to grow for TSM as this turret is basically hanging on by a thread. And Dignitas, they're in a tough spot right now. It only gets more difficult for them here. They lost a lot of gold and XP on that top side. It's worth noting too. And it just continuing to grow TSM's advantage here. Now, they're on a timer, Eric. Yes, we've seen Dig make comebacks before. Yes, with their scaling, it's possible. When you're on a timer like this, it's hard. Because when that next dragon comes up, you have to be in a position to contest it. Otherwise, this game becomes borderline impossible to win.
And again, to reiterate what was said in game number 1, this TSM roster was very much hated by a lot of the fans, which was such a question to me because it's still veteran talent alongside some rookies. You know, the early form of it that they had, you know, Doxa now stepping in, it feels even more suitable for this roster. And I think this is something people really shouldn't be sleeping on. Just because Svenskeren and Hans or Wild Turtle, their big wins were in like 2017, doesn't mean they can't still bring the heat.
And I think it's worth noting, when you, like you already highlighted it, it seemed like this level of play at times in previous years. Actually going to hold that thought.
Svenskeren missing once again. Hanser shows up. You don't need the ultimate. It's all right. It's a numbers disadvantage. Sanity goes down. TSM will pick it up over there. And Diamond running for the hills, but the hills contain turtles. Getting chased down with the Colin right into the back. Diamond goes down.
Nice and easy. And TSM just overwhelming Dignitas in the second game. And he just leads into, whoa, Tomo. I'll miss you, buddy.
Oh, no, Tomo. All those big Zeri plays, and this might be another one. Tomo looking for the outplay. Tidal Wave goes out. Tomo still alive. Now Wild Turtle going for the chase. Tomo hopping over that wolf camp. He'll be able to find and escape away, or will he? Or will he? Gonna need the protection of Hoon. Still with the chase. Wild Turtle wants this. This is a rabid turtle we got coming forward. Svenskeren hopping in. We'll get the flash on the Tomo, and finally Tomo does fall. Hoon might fall as well. Bubble comes out. There's another member of TSM going down. It's a 2-for-1 deal for TSM.
And it's just TSM putting Dig through the meat grinder here, and all Dig get is a turret in return. And I want to go back to what you were talking about, Eric. And again, we got to really... I understand the fan dissatisfaction with the TSM roster initially. Because again, you said it, in past years, you know, sometimes when players like this come back, it seems like retirement home vibes. But I think trusting in the attitude that players like Hanser, Svenskeren, and Wild Turtle have, especially at continuing to play at this level, you said it, they want to go back to LCS. And I think we as fans, viewers, and casters should give them that chance to see what they're actually going to be able to do.
I mean, call him boomers all you want, but Faker's on his 10th year and no one's calling him one.
Facts.
Take a look at what happened over here on that top side. It was just simple. A collapse right onto Insanity.
It was perfect. The flank TP, borderline unnecessary. You just want to make sure you lock these ones down, and the move from Diamond to try and help just meant that he ended up falling too. And this is exactly what you expect, because your ability to turn, oh my god.
Oh, and that means no protection for Tomo.
Yep.
Tomo will just instantly drop. Your bot lane's gone. This Baron belongs to TSM.
Yeah, it was theirs to begin with. And the thing is, TSM's ability to turn is so good with this composition, just because of, I mean, things like this. Oh, God.
Monster pulls XU right back in. Now that's 3 down. Do you want to lose any more, Dig? I think it's time to head for the hills. This Baron is TSM's. They will secure it 21 minutes in.
Dig, I think, have finally agreed that they've lost enough in this engagement, Eric, and it just lead continues to grow for TSM. They're almost up to 10K now with 22 minutes, and at this rate, we are not getting another 40-minute banger, and the opportunity to come back into this game just gets smaller and smaller and smaller for Dignitas Challengers. You see the gold leads coming through here across the board. It is ridiculous. Minimum 2,000 in every single role, except for support, but that's okay. And it just shows, in all these fights, where when you have a comp like this, that's really good at picks, that's really good at burst, and you're 10K up, like, Dig's entire win con and team fights is impossible, because you need to survive that burst and beat them with your overall DPS. It's just not happening.
You don't have the economy to deal with this beefy of a front line in Svenskeren and Hanser. That's what it really does come down to right now, when it's a 10K lead for TSM, and they're looking to expand it over into the bottom lane, starting a siege over here. Dignitas on the back foot with no real ways back in. They got to get picks, and they got to be in the blink of an eye. But now, TSM knocking at the door of Dig.
This is Baron buff. They are going to have to open it. They're going to have to open up, and you can see it. Bubble is coming through. Realistically, you have some good wave clear, especially with Zeri and Rise at this point in the game. That's all you can really hope for. It's just a matter of time, though, because one, you can get engaged on at any point. This turret is not really any safety for you here as Dignitas, so they do need to be careful of the engage.
TSM are playing it on the safer side of things. They're not really pushing for that engage, just go as fast as possible. They know time is on their side. They'll just slowly take this tower down. They even have an Ocean Drake to fall back to if they don't just outright take the game here.
Right, I mean, with Baron in hand, if they get an ace, this would be an easy win for them. And okay, you're seeing the pressure.
2 engage ultimates going by the wayside. Neither of them going to land, but that's okay. The threat was enough to push away Dignitas to get this tower down. Wild Turtle opening up with the calling. Inhibitor under threat. Bubble does land. TSM not pulling the outright trigger. They want to play this safe, and they are doing so with 1 inhibitor down. They'll transition over towards the mid lane or transition for a kill onto Insanity. Hanser forward, pulls 2 right back in Tomo and XU. Hanser on the back end, but no one yet to fall until the unleashed power of Doxa puts the bot lane right in the dirt.
And with that, TSM are going to put Dignitas away, as it will not be a 2-0 victory. We got to cross some T's, dot some I's, but look at this, Eric. It's over.
TSM bringing it back in game number 2, but wait, Alphars are running low, and Insanity is on this rise. Gotta lock him down, gotta really secure it, and they will. Wild Turtle triple kill. Waiting for those minions to come back into the base, though, because extend this a little bit longer, but a comeback from TSM nonetheless, and it was all off the K'Sante beat.
Right, and I mean, this just kind of goes to our earlier point between games 1 and 2. K'Sante diff, as Hanser this time around manages to turn his lane advantage into a win for his team, and we're having a little fun, but
all done and dusted. TSM taking this to a tie, 1-1 apiece.
And I think it's a really great comeback for TSM to be able to, I mean, even out the series. We talk about how the single round robin, excuse me, going into playoffs here as our tournament structure. So every match counts in terms of placing going into playoffs. And I mean, this is a big deal, being able to get these wins like this for TSM Challenger. And I like the adaptation. This time around, Dignitas, they give them the opportunity to take the Cassante, and they clearly should not have done that.
They should not have. We saw the notes.
Myra told us.
Myra told us. Myra said straight up, Cassante diff. What did TSM do? They say, oh, Myra, might be right. They take that champion and Hanser. You couldn't kill him. Quite literally, did not fall at all. Even Svenskeren, just being that accompanied frontline for TSM that no one in Dignitas could get through, it was quite the comeback.
Yeah, and I think part of it too is the draft for Dig was a little hard to play because in game 1, you had more playmaking in the early game, taking advantage of Insanity and the fact that he's had mid-prio perma in both games, right? But XU playing Graves this time around, it's a little hard. You don't have CC on Diamond either because you're running the Enchanter. So you're really leaning hard on the Gwen pick like we were talking about previously to be able to basically allow you to survive all this burst, survive the initial all-in, because again, if in a more even game state, they would have survived it and they would have had the opportunity to bring it back. They didn't.
Oh man, but what a way to really start off NACL. I mean, it's the first week of play. We're getting so many different ties between these squads and even between the challenger teams proper. I mean, this is a better look for TSM. This has been a better roster for TSM, a better build for TSM. And yeah, being able to challenge our second place finalists in Dignitas, still having Insanity on that roster, it is some good stuff to see. And we're in for a great season at that. But let's not listen to us anymore. Let's listen to what TSM have to say about that. We're going to take a moment to throw it over a short break. When we return, Myra will have Chime with an interview.
Hello, I am here with Chime after a victorious Game 2 in that 1-1 series. How are you feeling after that one?
It was a really fun Game 1 that, went the distance, and then Game 2 was more fun for us than it was the other team, but still a good series.
Yeah, it's always good to get that second win in the best of twos here. The vibes are always positive after the set.
Yeah.
So for you, you're coming down subbing. Obviously, we have a bit of a visa situation. What's it been like subbing down with the guys? How's the vibes? How have things been?
It's been good. I mean, yeah, it's cool because they're all really nice and it's easy to kind of just jump in. And they have strong voices, which I think is, rare for an academy team. But since there's a lot of veterans, it's easy for me to just kind of join in on the conversation. I don't have to really lead much. So yeah, I mean, I think it's like the easiest team I could ask for when it comes to like just slotting in when I need to. And yeah, all around just like good vibes with the team and fun games.
I was gonna ask on that because normally when you're an LCS player subbing down to the B team, you're usually the one that has to bring some experience. You're usually the one who has to guide people when you're the one coming down. But you're playing with 3 LCS champions. You're playing with Wild Turtle, who's one of the most experienced LCS AD carries of all time. What's that been like, playing with those type of players? I know you briefly touched on it, but I just want to hear more.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool to play with them, and yeah, I don't have to do as much as I thought I would need to, so I can kind of just focus on my own gameplay, which is nice. I think it can just build confidence, and also, I don't know, it just shows the caliber of players we have in Academy.
Yeah, when you're especially handling with those players as well, you have the 3 talented veterans. You're playing with Dox as well, who, is a very mechanically talented player. So it must be a good feeling coming in. I was sort of curious on the lane dynamics for you and Wild Turtle, what that's like coming in. Who's sort of pushing the agenda on what you guys want to do? Is it a conversation? Is Wild Turtle just calling the shots? Like, what's the vibes down there?
I mean, he's more or less chilling, like, as an ADC does. I mean, like, he's not quiet. He talks when he needs to, and he does a lot more. But I think for the most part, in these, like, Enchanter lanes, it's all about, stepping up together, especially Lucianami, just, like, calling your CDs and playing together and backing off and getting good HP and, like, pot advantages. And I think that's what we've been talking about, and it kind of goes both ways for that. You need, like, both people to talk a little bit. You can't really micromanage one another too much, so it's been good. I think we're both pitching in.
Awesome, that's great to hear. Now, as well, you're obviously playing on the LCS team once everything settles in. How are you feeling about that going into the season? What's your sort of goals going into the split?
yeah, I mean, I'm excited. It's my first spring split. No longer just a summer split gamer. And I think I just want to prove that I'm a top 3 player in my role, and have a good full split. Yeah, it's nice to have like a preseason to start with a team and actually gel. So yeah, I've just been really fortunate to have that.
That's awesome. And you know, I was just curious as well, when you're getting into the split here, are you paying attention at all to any power rankings, or are you just out here trying to prove yourself? You don't really care what anyone else is saying?
Yeah, I mean, you hear some things, but I've never been on a team, you know, that's like everyone's like expecting to win, and I think it's I'm used to it, and I also kind of embrace it. You know, if people want to not believe, it's fun to, you know, prove people wrong.
I respect that attitude. I love it. I love hearing that as well. You know, best of wishes for the LCS this split. Got to wrap up the interview here. Congratulations on that game, and I hope to see you smurf it on stage.
Thanks.
And we're just going to hop over to break now.